It's the team which wins.
Yeah.
It's the leader who fails. I would always say leadership is not about only telling them what to do. It's about telling them how to do it, right? And taking them along, because the idea is that you have to create the next line of people, who will be future ready to take your positions. Or many people have some gaps, some pluses, some minuses, and those are to be filled in. Similarly, in sales and marketing as well, you have lots and lots of gaps, and those gaps are to be identified so that they could be plugged in. And when they are plugged in, and when you show that after plug-in, this is the solution which is going to come, or this is the result which is going to be delivered, then naturally, nobody would say no, right? And the results will be achieved.
So, great morning, audience. It's almost more than a month since I uploaded any heart-to-heart conversation. I was looking for some really inspiring people who come and join me in this series of heart-to-heart conversation. Shantanu, I think it must have been more than 50 conversations so far, and it's because of people like you who are not only working, who are not only taking care of your family, who are not only taking care of friends and social and other responsibilities, but you also do not mind sparing maybe a couple of hours. I know that this conversation is going to go on for 1 hour, but then before that, you think of something. You do not know what kind of questions are going to come from the stable of Arun and this free flowing conversation. So it takes some time. It takes almost half a day. And I'm so thankful to you and other people who always come forward for this conversation, Shantanu. So thank you so much.
It's all a pleasure, Arun. I mean, talking to you with such a great deal of experience. It's always a pleasure having some time spent in the light of wisdom, I would say. Yeah.
No, sure, we are going to get a lot of wisdom from you, Shantanu, because the audience, we are talking to somebody who has been deeply in the field of sales and marketing. Sales, actually, he has been heading sales in various organizations, including some of these startups, including some of these new age organizations. We are not talking about companies which have been there over the last 200 years. We are not talking about those traditional manufacturing companies. We are talking about companies which are changing with every passing day. It's not easy to head sales in some of these organizations, and that's the reason I thought of inviting Shantanu for this for this heart-to-heart conversation. So Shantanu, today I've got 3 heart-to-heart conversations, and this is the first one. So it's going to be a super
Great.
inspiring day for me. So if there is one person who's learning the most, I think it's me. And the entire credit goes to people like you. So Shantanu, I was just going through some of the pictures. Of course, I think I didn't see many pictures on your LinkedIn profile. You are a person who has been, I think, busy while supporting people, and that's very obvious from some of the feedbacks which I saw. And let me share one of these. And while doing so, I'll also talk a little about Shantanu journey in the field of sales and marketing and other areas. So I'm just looking for that. I'm just looking for that. I hope it is the. Yes, I've got it because there are 3 heart-to-heart conversations, and I didn't want to miss up the things. There are quite a few pictures which I have got.
Yes,
So
yes.
this is a feedback from Shikha, who is working in Amazon, and she has worked earlier with Shantanu, and we are going to go through some of these things which are there, Shantanu. I can see that Shantanu is feeling like a little loaded by some of the words which are pretty heavy. So not every
See,
day you find a boss who is, yeah, go on. We wanted to, you were saying,
I'll
sir.
tell you. I mean, see, I'm actually honored to have many a times a team which have judged me in terms of being a good mentor. Uh, so the idea is always to have led the team from the front, right? You
Yeah,
need to
yeah,
guide the team. You need to handhold them till such time that they are independent in terms of making wise decisions, right? And
yeah.
as you rightly said, Arun, I mean, see, I mean, I started my career. I mean, after those days, we had from '93 to '97, right?
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
started off as an engineer, right,
yeah.
for about a couple of
And
years.
then and I think I can share something with the audience because I think I
Yeah,
should do my task rather than leaving it to you to introduce yourself. So the audience,
yeah.
we are talking to Shantanu Singh, and Shantanu has been in the field of sales and marketing while heading some of these departments over last many years. I think over last close to over a decade or so, he has been in the field of sales, and before that, he has got a total of more than 2 decades of working experience. I know Shantanu as the dude who used to have long flowing hairs and who used to drive or ride a bike in the days of BIT emission. I'm talking about 1993, 97. And I'm pretty sure he must be having quite a few people who used to admire him a lot. Like people like me who didn't have any admire. I mean, who were just a small group of people who used to just trying to who were looking at the world and trying to figure out how things work. I think contrary to that, Shantanu was one of those very super confident people who was there with many people. He was a friend's friend, right? And that was also clear with some of the pictures which I saw of yours, Shantanu, where I can see that you are having some good time with some of the old friends from BIT Mishra days. So Shantanu did his engineering from BIT Mishra, and then he got into corporate world. Of course, we'll listen to him a bit of his memories after 1997. And he has been deeply in the field of sales and marketing. Shantanu, I've been in the field of authoring, speaking, coaching people, and conducting some of these programs related to life transformation. I know for sure that any person that I talk to, I recall my coach had told me that Arun, always remember that sales and marketing is 90% in this field and content is just 10%. I said, sir, I beg to disagree, sir. Content is the king, sir. This is the emperor, sir. Content is 99%. And actually, for that reason, I've never done any marketing or selling. I think you might have seen that there is no kind of proper marketing and selling. All that I've been doing over the last maybe 3 to 4 years is to just go deeper and deeper and deeper in content. But I know for sure that this is the same world where I'm speaking from Pune. If in Pune, on the streets of Pune, Shah Rukh Khan comes and just does like this and takes one pudiya, crores of people are going to eat that pudiya. And if I keep on talking about some of these life transformational, kind of secrets and ideas, hardly there are any person other than
Hardly,
Shantanu is
yeah.
going to listen to me. So marketing does matter, branding does matter, sales does matter, and that brings us to Shantanu. Shantanu, I think first of all, yeah, thank you so much for joining me once again. And Shantanu, how does it feel to have spent more than 2 decades while being in corporate, to have done engineering from BIT Mishra, Birla Institute of Technology, and to have spent close to a decade or maybe more than that in the field of sales? And after doing all of this, you come to the heart to heart conversation series of Varun. How does it feel when
See,
you
I'll
join me today? Thank you so much
take
once
you
again.
to the
Go
back
on.
of the decades of the 90s. I mean, decade of the 90s, right? Remember, I mean, those times, yes, you rightly said. I mean, I was on the bike and usually moving around the campus, right,
Yeah.
with long hair and with but of course, I was of I mean, one of those groups who was not too much into studies. Obviously, you were a very different kind of. I mean, you were hardly. I mean, you were very, very studious and very hardworking. And
No, nothing.
time and
Even you
often,
have been the studios, yeah.
I remember those times. When I had to come to, of course, students like you to get some help. In terms of how to solve numericals. So
No,
I
but I
never
think we
forget that.
have been, and I think people like this also used to come to you and to for seeking
Yes.
further help.
So it was a ladder. I used to come to you, take the feedback and some explanations, and used to give you those explanations to various people. I mean, various colleagues who were
Yeah. So I can see that. So I can tell you, I can share one thing with the audience for sure, with full confidence, that we are talking to somebody who knows what it means to maintain a very good rapport and relationships with people. He knows what social quotient means, and I think I have always known Shantanu as a person who is to lead, who has been leading his team, who has been leading his team with full energy, and also he has been maintaining networks and connections with some of the people. Dharmendra Pundir, I can see from the days of
yeah,
BIT Mishra.
Pradeep.
And I've seen a lot of such pictures, and actually brings me to one point which is very important before you get into sales, and that is the power of building strong relationships.
So,
Network is
see,
something which people,
I'll
yeah.
tell you, Arun. I mean, thanks to the Facebooks of the world, right? I'm really glad we had something of this sort quite a few years back. With the help of Facebook, uh, I got connected to my all my BIT friends, right, and all
Wow.
my school friends. Okay, now uh, I'll take you towards this journey.
Please
I'm
go on,
I'm
go
not
on.
so much into social networking, so I mean, you would have seen.
No,
You
nothing.
will
I think
not
about
find.
what you are into is the thing which actually matters. It's all about
Yeah.
building deep
So
connections and
it's
bonds.
about
Go on.
building deep connections, and then all of a sudden, over the last few years, you would find all these social networking websites, losing their meaning, right? That has happened. So the only website that I am at is LinkedIn, right? And that matters to me. Yeah. And apart from that, yes, I mean, I have made it a point that I'm very well connected to all my school friends. So we make it a point that every month, once or twice we catch up, right? Time and often I'm talking to, yes, Pundir, Amitabh Dubey, and a lot of other
Yeah,
friends that,
Amitabh Dubey, yeah, very
yeah,
nice old
we were
memories
very
come.
close friends. And you would know, many of us are in US. So yes, about
Many of these
once,
people are in San
many of
Francisco
us,
and some of
right?
these
So
some
Amit
of these
Matu and all, who are very close and dear to me. So, yeah, and once in 2 months' time, yeah,
Hmm.
I spend some time with them,
So great. No, I think this is also one thing which people have to appreciate, and that is the power of knowing people. That is the power of adding some deep-rooted value to the lives of people,
correct,
building deep connections. It's very important for us to actually make people feel good. Feel good.
true,
That's how heart-to-heart connections are built, and that
absolutely.
is at the core of some of the biggest of transformations. You talk about Jatin Lalit in the field of music. You talk about Lakshmikant Parallel in the field of music. You talk about Narendra Modi, Amit Shah in the field of, we all know,
Oh,
in the
yes,
field of politics and transforming the country. You talk about any field, you have got mentor-mentee relationship, or else you have got friends working together. Because
together,
I know for sure, having this field, it takes a lot to actually create synergy, to actually get people with whom you share that synergy and vibe and
true.
energy. And there are hardly such people. And once
And
you get
it,
it, you can create a world of transformation. You can
yes,
make
and
it
it
big.
brings out such, latent part of your personality that you become a very diversified
Yeah,
person,
yeah.
right? So at times
Very
you are in
important.
the corporate and the boardrooms and you are discussing strategies, and then at times you are sitting with your friends and laughing it off, on some trivial jokes. Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
This is
that's
interesting. This is interesting. So this is a picture of one of the books which has been released. This is my latest release, and I always tell
oh,
people
wonderful!
that.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Shantanu, for this. So Shantanu, I always tell people that books are great, but then if we learn the art of reading people, if we learn the art of building strong networks, we can learn a lot from
A
people,
lot.
a lot from people. So Shantanu, I think before you get into sales, would you like to share something about how to build strong networks? I think network is not the word which you use. How to build a strong relationship with.
First and the most important part of it would be, I would say empathizing, right? See, not everyone would you find in an organization who are the same, with the same thought process, or
Yeah,
probably, with the same kind of experience or exposure, right? So the idea is, I mean, see, there are two ways you're working in an organization. Arun, you would know that one is a cross-functional organization, right? Cross-functional departments, and then within your team. So naturally, you'll have to play a multiple role. And when you're talking about talking to your team, or conversing with your team, or it's all about building relationship.
building
It's
relationship.
not about, you give them a task and you give them a timeline and you tell them this needs to be done without guiding them through, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
all about, and I would always say, leadership is not about only telling them what to do. It's about telling them how to do it, right? And taking them along, because the idea is that you have to create the next line of people, who will be future ready to take your positions, right?
Very, very powerful sentence, Shantanu. What you said is very important. It's not only about telling people what is to be done. It's not only about giving deadlines to people. It's not only about reviewing and giving feedbacks. It's also about
Exactly,
sharing with them the ways to do it, how to build energy. It's also
exactly.
about mentoring, coaching, and I think giving some
So
positive
I'm a
feedbacks.
hard believer, Arun. It's not about the position or the chair that you respect as a
Oh,
team.
respect.
It's about the personality, right? I mean,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
matter if you are even the head of the organization or head of a department, and then you are in a very autocratic style, you are conducting your team, and the team would, I mean, on the back of, in your hindsight, the team would not have much respect, and if they don't have respect, they would not follow you. Yeah,
Yeah,
they would
absolutely,
always
Shantanu.
have a
And I
tendency to
can,
miss the deadlines.
yeah, very true. And I can easily remember many very senior leaders who used to earn a very, very handsome salary and package, and still the day these people left the company, people actually, other team members were not sad at all. I don't want to say that they
Absolutely.
celebrated. Some of these people actually did.
And you know
So,
what?
and it's not, yeah.
I'll give you a very simple example. On the LinkedIn, you'll find a lot of these things coming up,
All goody
right?
goody.
And all goody things, and you'll find people, saying that it's not the organization people who it, it's the leaders or the heads
Everybody talks
who
about it.
actually.
There's so many
Everybody
times,
talks
so
about
many
it,
times you must have seen this.
but then yeah, it's absolutely true. I mean, any culture which flows in an organization is because of the leadership. It's about
Yeah,
the top management, right? And once you create that environment of transparency, of dependency, and probably it's such an open environment where nobody feels scared or demeaned, while taking help, perhaps, or while taking ideas, or even sharing ideas. I mean, they might come out with much better ideas than you have, right? And the idea
absolutely,
as a leader is to
absolutely.
accept it, right? Not
Hmm.
every time a leader
Hmm.
would be correct, but then certain ideas from the team, or perhaps an external customer, would be much helpful and come handy to you.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I think there are some basic human, I think traits which come in the way of leaders appreciating their team members and leaders empowering their team members in true sense of the word. I think there are some of these emotions, human emotions like ego, or I should be
Correct.
bigger than the other person. Mary, in our childhood, as we used to see this advertisement, Mary sari, uski sari se safed. Yeah, whatever.
Correct.
I
Yeah.
think my stature should be bigger than the stature of other people. There are certain things which start working. I think ego is just one of the human traits which come in the way, but otherwise I think things are very simple. It's all about leaders empowering people, it's all about leaders inspiring people, it's all about leaders giving a feedback also. But even when a true leader gives a feedback, actually team members feel good, because they know that
Oh
this leader
yes.
cares for me, and this feedback is important for me to become a better person. There is a way of giving feedback as well. So I think these are very simple things, but
See, I'll
still,
give you an example here, Arun. I
yeah,
mean, just to make life. I mean, one as I as a leader, and one when I was a subordinate, right?
yeah,
Now, this is just over last few months. I was working with
please,
one of my team members, and I gave him a task, in terms of a competition analysis, right? In terms of what all competitors are doing and how do
yeah,
you study it, right? So I asked him to get it done, right? And I gave him a timeline, in
yeah,
one day, okay? And this guy was into a lot of documents and taking competition data and putting everything on the computer and trying to work it out, right? Or
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
inferences that he could draw. And the next day, I told him, I mean, Sonny, you're going all wrong, right? Because you are going into 2,000 rows. What is actually needed is only 20 rows, right? And this is
Yeah,
how you
absolutely.
look at the data. And then he said, "Sir, couldn't you have told me this before?" So, mera answer bada simple sa tha, Arun. I mean, had I told you this, you would not have gone through all this nonsense, right? And then you wouldn't have learned. There would be an easy way out, right? So तब तक वैल्यू
Absolutely.
नहीं आती है जब तक आप उसको बड़े आराम से ले लेते हो, unless you have uh, done the hard work. You would appreciate and understand what really matters.
Shantanu, what you have said is at the crux of mentoring, coaching, and learning, because it's not about telling people how to do it. It's all about guiding them, while you know that it's important for them to take some actions on their own without getting mentored right in the beginning, because only then
Absolutely.
they experience, and because then only they know what is to be done and what is not to be done. So when I wrote this book, which is the latest release, it talks about, it shows the picture of a person who is walking alone. And then
Oh
it's
yeah.
all about walking. Let people walk. Let them take some action. Then it talks about 14 steps to peak performance. Some of these steps are actually steps which are going to teach them some of the biggest lessons, because we do not learn some of the best of lessons while drinking a can of Coke and enjoying. We learn some of the biggest of lessons while getting a feeling that, oh my God, why did it happen to me? Oh my God, why did it happen to
Really,
me?
yes.
Those are the points where people actually transform. And I have seen lots and lots of examples. I've written lots and lots of books on this topic only. And that central idea is that anybody who has done something huge, which is inspiring the world, which has transformed the world, including Mahatma Gandhi, you talk about Mahatma Buddha, you talk about Elon Musk, you talk about Azim Premji, you talk about any person that you want to talk
Anybody.
about. I take this
Oh yes.
open and humble challenge. You take the name of any person, they have gone through something which made them wonder as why did it happen? And it's something which was not making them happy. And then only people have started thinking, otherwise हम लोग सोचते ही नहीं है भाई. सब
So
मजे में तो
here,
सोचना क्या है
I
यार?
mean,
I know
that
so many
reminds
people who are
me.
working in corporates and they are living their home house early in the morning. They're coming back late in the evening. They're working for 6 days. I don't know how many days. And still salary is coming. सोचना क्या है? सोचते तब है जब ले ऑफ होना शुरू हो जाता है. सोचते हम लोग तब है जब कुछ प्रॉब्लम होना शुरू हो जाता है. That's the reason I always tell people that be proactive. Keep on taking action. The way you inspired this person to take some actions, and then you knew that the person might learn some of the lessons. And the thing is that हम ऐसे इंसान हैं कि जब तक ठोकर लगती नहीं है तब तक सीखते नहीं है.
So
जब तक 20
I'll
दो
get
सौ
come
रू बनाएंगे नहीं और लगेगा
correct.
नहीं कि भाई 200 में से तो 180 की जरूरत नहीं है. सीखते ही नहीं है. एंड दिस इज एट द कोर ऑफ लर्निंग. सो आई थिंक ऑफ कोर्स वी आर टॉकिंग टू वन
So
ऑफ द बेस्ट
so
मेंटर्स. Go on,
that reminds me of my second instance which I was talking to you about.
please.
So that time around, I mean, that was about 2 decades ago. Okay. And see, I came into sales because of the glamour. I'll tell you, because I never
Okay,
had this habit of
because of the
glamour, all
glamour.
about glamour, right? So
Wow.
because for me,
Wow.
sales and marketing was one department which always led from the front, and that was the department to look upon, for any organization,
And
right?
I think all the people in the organization they value sales the most. I think it's
Absolutely.
very clear. Sales in
So I'll tell
freelancing and all these
you,
functions. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So after my MBA, and then I started off as a, much into quality and kind of teaching, right? So I was with
Yeah.
Tatas, and I used to coach for about a couple of years. And then I
Yeah.
said, no, I mean, this is not the right thing which I'm supposed to do. And as you know,
Yeah.
my character was not like that even in BIT. So I got a chance, to serve with the brand called Nokia, right, through HCL,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that was way back in 2003, and that was the time when the telecom wave had just hit the
Wow.
country.
Wow.
Yeah, and remember, from this office job, suddenly I find myself as a sales guy, as an ASM, right, and I was handling the worst part of the country, which was West UP. You can understand, starting from Noida, Ghaziabad goes up to Eta, Etawah, Mainpuri, and all that, right?
Wow. What
And
an experience it must have been for you.
and
What an
guess
adventure.
what? I mean, my boss. I mean, and he was a wonderful boss that I had later on, but not initially. And he told me, to do 30 shops a day on foot, right? And if before you enter the shop, you give me a call. Come out of the shop, you give me a call, right? And tell me what has happened. And I used to
Yeah.
sincerely and dedicatedly, call him. I'm entering XYZ. Okay, I have seen this. Have you seen that? Have you seen the glow signboard? Have you seen the bill book? Or have you seen the number of stocks these guys? And he made me run district to district,
Yeah.
cities to cities, shops to shop. And
Yeah.
finally, at
Yeah.
the end of few months, I thought, no, 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 this is not the way, I thought things were supposed to be, right? And I said, I need to take a call. And I had a very heart-to-heart discussion with my wife. And I said, no, I mean, I cannot do it. And suddenly you have these conferences with the distributors. And then when I was talking to them, uh, you would not believe, the kind of in-depth information and knowledge that I had was much more even than the distributors. And that was the time when I
Mm.
learned that my boss was doing nothing but teaching me the hard way, right? He was a hard
Hardware.
trust master.
That's the
Yeah,
only way to get deeper into things. That's the only way
absolutely.
by taking
And
and by
then
doing.
that boss, you would not believe, and he became such a wonderful friend to me. I mean,
Wow.
throughout, and I remained with him for the next 5 6 years, if I'm not wrong, and together we moved company to company. Yeah, I mean that
This
is
is very
it. I mean,
interesting.
but
There are two things.
in today's
Go on,
scenario,
go on, go
I
on.
mean, and this is my personal opinion. I might be wrong, but
This
then
is
again,
absolutely true because I've done some deep work. I think I'll say humbly, I've done some good work in this field, good volume
yeah,
of work. I'll say I've spent at least more than 10,000 hours in this field, which we just spoke about. And this is the best way. We learn the best while developing our own experiences, while developing our own realizations. And that will happen only through taking actions.
correct.
People can preach us. You know that we
A lot
all
of
know it
things,
for sure that the entire world of YouTube and social media has got millions of motivational videos. Nobody learns a bit. You
and
just
that
get
is
some
why,
temporary sense of dopamine. Wow, sahi
yes,
baat hai. Baat mein dam hai.
see, everybody is teaching these days. Everybody, right? You
Everybody,
understand?
but unless you do something on your own, your brain will not start developing
No,
patterns. And that's the reason it's all about doing.
and that
Another
is
thing which you
why
said,
in today's
yeah.
world, I tell people and especially youngsters, that you guys have been bitten by the swipe culture, right? Things that you don't like, you swipe it immediately, correct? And something that you like, you stay for 20 seconds, and that's your span of attention, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the real life is not such. right, you need to be really dedicated and devote much of your time into understanding and learning
Yeah,
something. And that is the reason why you'll find a lot of attrition happening across the industry, across the companies. People do not want to stick around for long, right? Perhaps they do not like, and they take life very easily, right? And the reality, you would
I
know,
know,
Arun,
I
I mean, life is
know.
not so easy.
I know the world has changed. There is something which somebody was talking about. It's very interesting that even today, we remember some of these jingles, advertisement jingles, which we had seen in 1990s because of the fact that we didn't have remotes. So we were
Correct.
forced to, Sardar, inverted comma. Actually, we used to enjoy watching Nirmas and some
Enjoy
of these
watching.
jingles.
Yes.
Today, who wants to see jingles? Because I have been creating some content videos and all that. My
Yeah.
marketing people keep on telling me, sir, make it as small as 30 seconds, 35 seconds, sir. People do not want to see even more than 3 seconds. Every 3 seconds, something has to keep on zooming in, sir. Otherwise, sir, people do not even have this attention span of more than 3 seconds. The world has changed a lot,
World has changed.
a lot. And now that brings us to the field of sales and marketing. And before we go there, I think you said something which is very important. Audience, you have got to appreciate the fact that Shantanu did mention that he had this heart-to-heart conversation with his wife. Wife, if you ask me, spouses, they are the best feedback givers and they are the
Oh,
best
yes.
company when it comes to you reaching out to somebody to get some of the most important, most insightful meanings of life. Because I know for
Absolutely.
sure that it's not too many people in this world who actually would be interested or willing to listen to all your story. No, there are just a few people.
Very few
Despite, I
people.
think we
Yeah.
all know, right? Despite having thousands of
Agree.
people on Facebook, there are just one or two people who are actually going to have this heart-to-heart conversation. And I'm so happy that we are having this conversation. So, Sandra,
Yeah.
coming to the field of sales and marketing, would you like to share something for budding sales and marketing professionals? As what does it take to become a good salesperson? And if
So
you
in
want, you can take a
continuation, see,
if you want, you can take a mug of coffee or tea or whatever is something which is very interesting. Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Go on,
just
go on.
good, I'm
Yeah,
having water, but see, I
please.
would say, I mean, today sales has changed, right? And thanks to the environment, where you have the online impact, so that typically, a combination of sales, so you have online and you have offline, right? And
Mm.
so though we started, I mean, all the sales guys who were from the early 2000 or Y2K as you call it, right? They're actually offline guys, right? And the
Offline
younger
guys.
generation is actually the online guys. That's how you kind of put a differentiator. But then, see, it has to be a combination. Nonetheless, you cannot have lesser value attached to any one of the verticals,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
But then my only suggestion or my only feedback would be it's all about persistence and perseverance, right?
Absolutely,
Nothing more.
absolutely.
You have to weigh yourself. You have to have the right kind of attitude, right? And sales in today's world is not the typical sales wherein I mean, I'm typically talking about the offline sales, Arun, and you would know it. You have a channel, right? You have a distributor, you have a dealer, and finally you reach to a customer. Unlike an online platform wherein you reach to a customer directly, right? So here you have a via media, you have levels of or tiers of people, who take your
Yeah,
product to the end consumer. And ultimately, what matters is how well you convince them. Now, remember those times when we were told that sales is about selling a comp to a person who is bald. No, actually, that is not so. The world
that's
has
not
changed.
true.
It's very dynamic in nature, wherein I always believe, the fact that even in sales, what you need to have is 80% of planning and 20% execution, right?
Mm. Mm.
Wherein, whenever you come out on the facts, I mean, with the facts based on logic, right? You will find a situation wherein even the channel partners would not take the liberty to say no, right?
Mm.
You have to have your calculations in place. It's not about going to a channel partner. मेरा company का इतना target है मेरे को करना है आप माल उठा लो. No, it doesn't work that way. Because
Yeah.
everybody has a lot of options, a lot of companies to work with. Why? Why? I mean, why are they dependent on you? So the idea is you
Mm.
have to show them the brighter picture. And for that brighter picture, you have to be very well in terms of your analytics. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Logical
Analytics are
approach.
going to playing a very important role because of
Yes.
options
And
with
then
the
you
customers.
finally,
Mm.
get to the conclusion. Yes, this is the right way. And it's a win-win situation for both the parties. Let's do it.
It's very interesting. So I think it's important for us to use analytics and data so that we can convince customers that, okay, though you've got many options, including maybe there might be 10 other options, but then because of this reason, the thing which I'm going to offer is something which is making sense for you. So
Exactly.
unless they know that they are taking from the best out of 10, they will not be, I think,
Exactly.
making the decision. That's very important for people to
Right.
appreciate.
And then the one most important thing. I mean, right. I mean, the way we are doing heart to heart, and you would know, many personalities have, or many people have some gaps, some pluses, some minuses, and those
Makes
are to
sense.
be filled in. Similarly, in sales and marketing as well, you have lots and lots of gaps, and those gaps are to be identified so that they could be plugged in. And when they are plugged in, and when you show that after plug-in, this is the solution which is going to come, or this is the result which is going to be delivered, then
Mm-hmm.
naturally, I mean, nobody would say no, right? And the results will be achieved, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's all about taking the right
Getting it.
approach.
I think very nicely explained. Finally, it all comes down to two qualities which you spoke about: persistence, perseverance,
Yes,
and doing a lot of hard work, because that's what, see, people might be online, people might be offline. The world is not going to change. We are still, I mean, people have been, we have seen millions of years of evolution, human evolution, right? When we actually
correct.
came to the current shape and size. And these 20 years are nothing in comparison with 20 lakh
Nothing at
years,
all.
right? So things are
Yeah.
still not going to change. And it's very important for us to appreciate that hard work, persistence, perseverance, consistency, mentoring, and lots of work, and doing a lot of things on your own so that you create your own set of observations
And then
and things
finally,
which are going to work for you.
Arun, there's one thing which people are missing today, and this is basis my experience. Again, I mean, this is my personal opinion. So it's not, I mean, whenever you are in sales and marketing or in HR or in, let's say, a finance department, you should not be limiting yourself to that vertical itself, right? Apart from,
Hmm.
see, if I'm into sales and marketing, that doesn't stop me to understand finance. That doesn't stop me to
Hmm.
understand HR, or, I mean, the organizational behavior. That doesn't stop me to know about the current affairs and the world affairs. The more
Hmm.
you are read, the more you are updated with whatever is happening around the world, the more confident you are to
Hmm. Because I think
try
sales is
to.
also about building rapport with people for which you have to
Exactly.
interact.
I mean,
Conversation
सी आप जब
will
जाते हो ना
happen.
फील्ड में या कहीं भी जाते हो, चाहे आप अपने कॉर्पोरेट क्लाइंट्स से मिल रहे हो, चाहे आप उन पार्टनर्स से मिल रहे हो, हर बारी आप नंबर्स और टारगेट्स के बारे में तो बात नहीं कर
बात नहीं
सकते हो
कर
ना.
सकते उसको लिए
You
क्या है,
have to
बिकॉज
have.
अल्टीमेटली लाइक
Yes.
या फील गुड फैक्टर.
And the best part about India
हम्म.
is everybody loves to have a
This
discussion on
is
politics. Yeah.
this is
So
interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Politics, right? Politics, cricket, and some of these things which are
करेक्ट.
happening
तो
here.
आप अगर सब कुछ अगर जानते हो, और आई वुड से ठीक है, जैक ऑफ ऑल ट्रेड्स, यू शुड नो एवरीथिंग, राइट? सो दैट यू कैन
Hmm.
lead a very healthy conversation, right? And then probably going round and round and round and round, and finally you arrive at the actual
It's
points
very
that you need to talk
interesting.
about.
Very interesting thing. People have been writing or talking about the fact that you should be master of one and jack, and you should not be jack of all trades. Let me share. I think something which is very insightful. You should be master of one, absolutely without any doubt. But you should also be the jack of many trades, because when it comes to
Absolutely.
conversation, nobody is expecting you to go deeper and then being very incisive. People just want to have some fun, some interaction. So that's the reason you should have some interest in traveling, tourism, some of the beautiful places, cricket, and
Correct.
some of these things, so that you can make people smile and have a
Exactly.
create a good feeling of
And that
goodwill,
is how you strike a chord, right?
strike a
There
chord.
are certain points, which probably is very close to the heart of the other person that you're talking to, and then that is the point, or that is the topic which will lead to a lot of longer conversations. And then probably the next time you're meeting, you're not at all
Yeah, yeah,
I would
yeah.
say inconfident of not starting the or not
This is very
continuing with the
interesting.
conversation.
I think this is also true that some of the best of salespeople will actually not be talking about the product. They will be talking about some other things which the person can
Exactly.
connect with, and then the deal happens in a very subtle way. Because nobody
Subtle
wants
way.
wants a salesperson to come and talk very formally about payment diya kya, paisa diya kya, sir, iska demand.
Exactly.
Let it happen in a parallel, subtle. We all are human beings. We all want
फिर
to take a
फिर
selling
उसका रास्ता
decision.
यही होता है कि अगली बार आप जाओगे तो सामने वाला बोलेगा आज मैं बिजी हूँ, so let's talk about it
लोग
sometime
बहुत ही
later.
चतुर है, चालाक है दोस्तों,
बिल्कुल.
बहुत ही चतुर चालाक है, वो बिजी बोल देंगे, इनके पास बहुत सारे तरीके हैं आपको वापस
वापस
लौटाने
भेज
के.
देंगे फिर.
So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
So Shantanu, I think very interestingly explained. Shantanu, थोड़ा सा आपसे बात करेंगे हम लोग leadership के बारे में कुछ बात करना चाहेंगे? Would you like to share some of these 2 or 3 traits? I think already you spoke about perseverance and persistence, which are important for salesman, for marketing. Coming to a leader, which are those few things which you think a leader should possess? Of course, it's something which is like universal.
I'll give you a very simple phrase on this, and this is something
Yeah,
which I have been taught and guided through.
yeah.
Uh, it's the team which wins. It's the leader who
Mm.
fails, right?
It's the team
So
which
I
wins,
would
is the
say
leader which?
it's the team which wins.
Yeah.
It's the leader who fails. Now, normally, what
Ah.
happens is any failure, a leader attributes it to the team, and any
Mm.
success, a leader takes all the credit. Now, not the ideal
Wow.
way, not the ideal situation, right? It's always, I mean, a leader should never say I, it's always a we, right? Because
We.
there's a team which has been working behind you, right? And because of which you are a leader. So naturally, I mean, it's like same. I
Very
mean,
interesting. Very
if
interesting.
see, if a 1942 failed, I mean, I would not say the Quit India movement, or perhaps that was one of
Yeah.
the part of it. You cannot say that the entire nation failed, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
way it was put across, and probably the leaders failed. But then when we got
Hmm.
the freedom, I mean, it's the entire stuff, and then the entire team. I mean, not to forget the other guys who are being remembered today, barring the few people who are always given the credit. So, I mean, actually, I mean, and take
I
it
know,
from
I
your
know.
favorite game, yeah,
Very interestingly
cricket,
said.
Arun. I mean, cricket. I mean, it's always the team, right? And
Yeah.
certain strategies go wrong, and the team fails to win. Then obviously, the strategy of the leadership has gone crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also you
very
see
few
it
at
very
times,
clearly
when the
that
team.
also this explains very clearly why some players in cricket who might not be the best of batsmen are the best of leaders. And some of the
Exactly.
best of batsmen, including the people
Might not
who
be a
scored
best of leaders.
century in the last match, they are very good players, but when it comes to leading the team, they might not be
And
the best of leaders.
you know what happens in today's world? You'll find a lot of people, uh, and I'm being very honest and upfront about
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
A lot
please.
of people being very scared to have a very strong guy on the team. That's one
And this
fact.
is a reality,
And
man.
this
This
is
is
the
a
truth. I mean,
reality.
probably nobody would come here, and heart to heart also, nobody would dare to speak. But then I don't mind, because that's the reality. People are scared of having a very strong guy on the team because they feel threatened. Number one,
And
right?
Shantanu, thanks for
However, I
bringing this.
feel
Go on, go
a
on.
stronger guy, yeah, a stronger guy makes you even stronger, right? That is one of
Yeah.
the most important things. And then this this discomfort with the amongst the leader, with the team, leads the leader into micromanagement. ओके, वो हर चीज में कूद के आपने ये करना है, आपने वो करना है, ऐसे करना है, ऐसे क्यों नहीं, everything, I mean, taken for granted that the other guy would not know anything, right? No,
Shantanu, you have
absolutely wrong.
hit the nail at the right place because this is a very powerful topic, and I have seen this happening in 90% plus cases where actually people will
Yes,
not admit that they are rejecting a candidate because actually the candidate is better. They will use some other words. This person
yes,
is thinks too much of him. He is too much full of himself.
correct,
He may not be the best.
correct.
Actually, he knows that if this person joins, actually, if the leader has got this abundance mentality, the leader also will get better because it will keep the leader also on the burner so that he also keeps on learning,
करेक्ट,
keeps on
बिकॉज
doing
यही मैं
something,
कहता
keeps
हूँ
on.
अरुण, होता क्या,
Absolutely. Which
हाँ,
people
अभी
don't
क्या
want.
है
They
ना,
want with comfort zone. आराम से जिंदगी
एक्सेप्टेंस,
बितानी है.
करेक्ट, और
और शांतनु, ये
एक्सेप्टेंस
बहुत
देते ही
बड़ी
नहीं
बात
है,
आपने कही है,
बिकॉज
बहुत बड़ी
प्रॉब्लम ये
बात
होता
कही
है.
है. और मुझे मुझे पता है कि बिल्कुल आपने एकदम एकदम यू हैव एब्सोल्युटली हिट द एरो एट द राइट प्लेस. पूरे लिंक्डइन में nobody will admit the fact that
Nobody will admit.
good people are actually rejected in many places, but I know for sure that I have spoken with many people and
And
I've seen
remember
this
those days,
happening.
Arun? I mean, when we were when we were children, and we used to hear stories from our grandmothers, right? Always a king who had fools around him and who always praised him that he's a king. The kingdom failed, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. See,
But you
one of
have
the
to have
things,
strong Navratna like what
Navratna,
Akbar had, probably, yeah.
I always tell people that, no, very true. Very thanks for bringing this example. I always tell people that if a king like Akbar who didn't have formal education could become what he became, you can have different whatever theories
Correct,
and all that, but the fact is that he was one of the very successful emperors.
exactly.
It's because of the fact that he knew how to compliment himself. He was not scared of having wiser people, people who were wiser than him in different fields,
Yes,
because he knew
yes,
that by learning by learning, and he being a good leader, he can actually create an empire. तो भाई मुझे
Correct.
हर चीज जानने की जरूरत नहीं है.
Yes,
आपको हर
नहीं
चीज
है.
जानने की जरूरत नहीं
और
है. You are not God. You do not know. You can't. There won't be a day
you
when you
cannot.
are the best of everything. As we spoke, you can be best in one field. A
Only
great
one.
leader. That's the reason leadership is all about appreciating the fact that you could be the best in just one field, not more than one. Because 70-80 साल की जिंदगी कम
तो
पड़ जाती है,
आपने
90 साल
यही
की
यही
जिंदगी
यही मैं
एक
कहता हूँ
चीज
कि
को
सबसे
जानने के
बड़ी
लिए.
बात क्या है कि आपने अपने टीम के जो बेस्ट एट्रीब्यूट्स हैं उसको बाहर निकालने हैं, बिकॉज देन टुगेदर एज अ टीम इट्स अ विनिंग कॉम्बिनेशन, right? It's a winning
Absolutely.
combination. You cannot start demeaning your team. You cannot start micromanaging your team. You cannot have situation wherein you are always doubting the intent of your team, right? You have to always make them powerful, make them confident, make them independent to deliver.
Absolutely. Of course, I'm speaking from Pune, which is in the state of Maharashtra, and here
Yeah,
we all know, the people talk, and we all talk about the bravery of the great work done by the great leader that Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was. And there are movies now. There is a movie which has come, which is titled as Subedar. It talks about one of the Subedars of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, because he was surrounded by some of the bravest people.
correct.
And he used to love them so much, he used to trust them so much, that some of these people laid their lives for him. There are movies
Exactly.
like Tanhaji and all their people who actually had their daughters or some wedding in the family, and they left the wedding work, they went to fight the enemies. I mean, this is the kind of power which leaders unleash. I always tell people that if organizations are suffering, and I'm saying this while looking into the eyes of all the leaders who are going to watch this video, if your organization is suffering, if you feel that you are not able to attain the kind of growth rate which you wanted the organization to attain, is because the challenges are lying within us. Is because we are
Absolutely.
not having the best of people. Is because we are not learning. Is because we are not the best of leaders. And it's because of tens of things which we can talk about, and still we'll fall short of time. Look within, you'll find a lot
Look
of
within
ways.
yourself and you'll
And
find a lot
any
of things. Yes.
organization can work at, if you ask me, 5 to 10 times the level that it is working. 5 to 10 times, but मुझे पता आइडियल बात है, चूंकि ऐसी दुनिया कभी आएगी नहीं जब लोग लिंक्डइन में बातें करेंगे
कभी नहीं.
बड़ी बड़ी, और वापस अपनी जिंदगी में वही बातें इंप्लीमेंट करेंगे. ऐसी दुनिया कभी आने वाली नहीं है. बिकॉज वही पान गुटखा वाली दुनिया है. कोई कर दो बड़ा स्टार, तो पान गुटखा भी लोग खाएंगे, और ये हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं, स्टिल
Correct.
पीपल विल नॉट टेक एक्शन. सो वर्ल्ड इज नॉट गोइंग टू चेंज दैट वे, दैट
ये
exactly. But does not
ये
mean that
रियलिटी
we'll
है. I mean,
stop our
ये
efforts, because
रियलिटी
even
है.
if
I
there is
mean,
1% change somewhere, it's going to have a butterfly effect across the world. And that brings me to the point once
see,
again.
at least,
Yeah.
I'm following my heart, Arun. I mean, because even today I'm connected to my team members who were my team for more than 2 decades ago. Yeah, I'm still connected with them. So
It's
that's
very
how,
clear, very
and
clear.
still, I mean, no matter people, there are a couple of people who have risen, I mean, higher than I am today. But then there's still the respect that they have is still there. So that's all that
So,
matters to me.
so once again,
Yeah.
I'll share one thing with you. What you said is very important. And first of all, I have seen that there is no comparison, because somebody might be higher. We may get a feeling that somebody is higher because he or she is driving a bigger car. But then life is all about the wheel of life: money,
Absolutely.
family, happiness, health, peace. If somebody is having a peaceful sleep and somebody can get up in the morning with energy, awesome, yeah. I'm telling you, it's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Awesome.
It's
And
it's a whale.
you've rightly
It's
said,
well, and I
it's
can
all
tell you
about
from my
balance.
experience, some of the happiest moments which I had were while just having something simple. Maybe I was just having a walk beside a lake along with some of my family members, and then we're just having some conversation. Those were the happiest moments which I still recall. Maybe some of those long distance drives which I took. अरे
See,
जिंदगी में
I'll
उसका
tell you
मतलब कोई
something, Arun,
कॉम्पिटिशन है ही नहीं यार. हाँ, go on,
that
go on.
reminds me. See, जब younger days थे and we used to put in a lot of effort in our work, right? Still, I made it a point when my daughter was born, I used to give lot of time to her, right? Because for me, what was more important was balancing life. I mean, there's no point of life, wherein I only get time beyond. I mean, after I get retired, of course, I would know. I would have the members of my family would have already left me. My children would have grown, and they would have been
Yeah.
into the same life as I am in today, right? So the idea was to spend more time, which could give me happiness, right? But at the same time, not to say that I did not give time to my work. I mean, the work. was 100%, but even the family was 100%, and whatever things that made me happy was 100%. That is what I tried to always achieve. Might have
Yeah.
failed in some, but then the natural tendency was keep doing the things which makes me happy.
Yesterday, currently before Diwali, so we are having painting work going on at our home in Pune.
Hmm.
And yesterday, the person who was doing the painting work, I was just talking to him. He said that I've got 3 daughters, sir. और तीनों को मैंने अंग्रेजी मीडियम पढ़ाया सर. जब तीनों आज बात करते हैं सर अंग्रेजी में, मुझे लगता है सर अगर मेरी मेरे मेरी जिंदगी का आज अंतिम दिन भी हो ना, तभी सर खुशी खुशी में जाऊंगा. मतलब just imagine that happiness on his
The
face.
kind
अरे
of
भाई, he is the
happiness.
richest person. He is so happy. He
Oh
has
yes,
ensured that all the 3 daughters are building a great career for themselves. They are studying in
correct.
some of the best of the schools. Yeah, यार enjoy कर रहा है वो. No comparison. See,
No
anyway, so
comparison.
we'll come. It's a very interesting thing which we'll discuss of parallel. Maybe we'll have some other conversations as well, Shantanu.
Sure.
So I'll just come to a couple of things, Shantanu. Would you like to share a couple of, because we want to make the best of usage of this time which we're having with you. Would you like to share some books or some movies, something which you think people should watch and it's inspiring, maybe from sales, some author, some salesman or something, some resources?
See, I would say, in terms of books or the lifetime, if somebody was supposed to read, I would say Steve Jobs. That's the only one I have read. And honestly speaking, apart from that, I'm into fictions. So I'm not into
So very
I'm a
nice. So I
self-motivated
can
guy.
share with you.
Yeah,
Very nice. No, this is very interesting. So maybe you can pick up some of the books from this list, maybe, or maybe yeah. So I've got some options for you, Shantanu.
sure, 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 sure,
And
100%.
so these are some of the books which are fiction, but these are actually non-fiction. So there are some stories which are fiction, but often you require a fiction to tell the realities in the bluntest form,
Oh
in the
yes,
boldest
oh
form,
yes.
because then people, it becomes easy for people to accept it. It
Easy for
becomes
people to comprehend.
palatable.
Yeah,
But I think some of these are non-fiction as well. So maybe you can choose some of these anyways on a lighter note. So
I'll do
Shantanu,
that
this is
for sure.
great. So would you like to talk about some fiction books which you loved, enjoyed, or anything, or any movie or anything?
A movie, see, I mean,
Yeah,
we are all science people, so
yeah, please,
I
please.
still have that love for Star Wars and
Wow.
Star Wars movies, and the one series. I mean, I would say not exactly series, but the James Bond movies is something which I have watched over and over again since my childhood. So, and
Wow.
even today, now my along with my son, I'm watching all the movies one by one every day of James Bond. That's
That's
how I.
called enjoying the moments, which is very important. Absolutely. I think we all know that even Mukesh Ambani enjoys one movie every day, because we all know it. It's about enjoying life, doing something which
It
makes you happy.
unwinds you. It unwinds
Yeah,
you.
certainly,
So
absolutely. And Shantanu, would you like to talk a bit about some of the places which you might have traveled, which you found very inspiring, good places, some memories? Some of the, do you like traveling? By the way, I'm pretty sure you must be.
see, sales is all about traveling.
Ah, you spoke about eastern part of
I like it or don't,
UP.
but there was a time when I used to travel 20-25 days a month,
Oh,
and
wow.
even today, being at a certain, I mean, I would say a position, I make it a point to travel at least about 8 days to 10 days in a month. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to be, I mean, abreast with the latest happening in the market. So you need to talk to people, you need to meet them, you need to check the pulse of the market, right? So you need to
Very
travel.
important, very
In
important,
terms of leisure,
audience.
Arun, if you ever to talk about, then obviously my favorite destination is none other than Goa. So every time,
Wow.
when I feel to
I can
revitalize
imagine the guy
myself.
with his Zulfe and then going for a ride in Goa. No,
So
this is
yeah.
great. And Shantanu, I think, let me share with the audience that audience, if you recall, Shantanu said towards the beginning that he came to sales for glamour part, if I just use that word. And this gives a message to all of us that, and I think we all know it pretty well, that for any success story, you've got to pay some price. So he came looking for glamour and then he knew that he was going to be traveling for 25 days. Life is a basket of chocolates.
Uh, I'll just take 2 minutes. So this again is a very beautiful story,
Yeah.
right? I was coming back from Ghaziabad, in my those times, 2003, in my 800. Okay, that was the car we all used to own, right? the first car for everybody, right?
Yeah.
And it was late in the evening, I think about 6:30 or so. And then my boss called me, and he said, "Aap kahan?" And that was a Friday, by the way. Okay, so
Yeah.
Saturday,
Yeah.
Sundays, And तो मैंने कहा, on my way, I'm going back home. So कहते हैं, आप निकल जाओ, you'll have to go to Agra because there's a price drop and you need to conduct an audit. उस समय audit होता था, कोई computer तो था नहीं यार. Nothing was recorded.
Yeah.
I said, अभी? बोलता हाँ, आप अभी चले जाओ, and you take your family also along. And Sunday को ताजमहल देख लेना, Monday you come back. हमने कहा कमाल है यार, ये क्या है? तो then I spoke to my wife and she said, अगर बॉस ने बोला तो चलना तो पड़ेगा ही. My baby was just about I would say 8-9 months old, 7-8 months old,
Okay.
right? She was in a basket, right? And I put the basket on the back seat, and me and
Yeah.
my wife, we drove down to Agra, right? And उस रात में बैठ के डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स जो बड़े मस्त होते थे, बिल्कुल ऑडिट करने ही नहीं
हाँ
देते थे, बिकॉज
हाँ
you understand,
हाँ.
right? रात में 3 बजे तक बैठ के ऑडिट करा था हमने. और अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमने ताजमहल नहीं देखा यार.
So दोस्तों, ये होने जा रहा है जिंदगी में. बहुत बार ऐसा होगा कि आपको अपनी ड्यूटीज के परसुएंस में आप ताजमहल नहीं देख पाएंगे, but there are other things. So that's the way life happens, right? Because priorities keep on driving us. So I think often people say that, life, people talk about a dream life where you are free and life, you are having all the money. It's not going to happen. You have to enjoy. That's the reason people say it's art of living. Enjoy, learn to enjoy the way life is. And of course, that's the way we can actually have gratitude and build it, make it bigger. So great. So let me come back to the background with which I had started this conversation, Shantanu, because yeah, so I've got another conversation in maybe 5 minutes time, but of course we are going to have another series of, I think we are going to have more conversation. So audience, I think it's important for us to appreciate the fact that the greatest of leaders are the ones who are remembered by people while using some of these words which you can see in the background. Let me read it now. Not every day you find a boss who is more of a mentor. Shantanu is a dynamic personality, full of energy, who is passionate. And you can look at some of the keywords about his work: task completion in time, strong analytical skill. I think he spoke about it. Shantanu spoke about it, strategic planning. And they are distinguishable, right? And there are other things which you can see. So, Shantanu, I think it's an amazing experience for me to have this heart-to-heart conversation. And we have got quite a few lessons, audience. If we just play it once again, take up pen and paper. I'm pretty sure you can note not less than 10. And even if you work on just one, life changes, because it's all about taking one step. And journey of thousands of miles will start with one single step, provided you are willing to take the step. And unless you take a step, unless people take action, they will not learn the way we spoke in the beginning, right? Chandra, thank you so much. Would you like to share something else before we close the conversation? We still have got 5 more minutes. Go.
So I mean, I just wanted to tell you, Arun, you are doing a fab job. I mean, it's wonderful, to uh, tell youngsters, especially, this is your experience and the way you are taking things into the court. It will really help them, because usually, during colleges, or see, till college, life is very easy, right? And it's all about having very wonderful and beautiful life going forward. And in reality, things are much different. So I mean,
Much
you
different.
are doing
Yeah.
a wonderful job, bringing the realities in front of them and trying to tell them,
Thank you.
how things should be taken forward and how
Thank
they
you so
can
much,
be
Shantanu.
very well
Thank you so much
successful.
for your kind words, Shantanu. So actually, this book is for people in the age bracket of 20 to 30 years. I think to begin with, of course, this is for everyone and anyone. But I always say that this is for first-time jobbers and finally MBA students, because that's where life starts taking shape, and that's where the journey starts beginning. As you rightly said, it all
Yeah,
looks very nice and rosy and all that cozy in colleges. और जिंदगी तो कुछ अलग है दोस्तों, मजेदार है ये
बिल्कुल.
जिंदगी. Thank you so much, Shantanu. एक सवाल तो मेरा सिग्नेचर सवाल, उसके बिना तो आपको जाने नहीं देंगे. If you write a book on your life and journey, what do you think would be the title of the book? Think it over and then let us know.
See, by the way, I have already written a book in COVID times, during COVID times,
Oh
though I've never
wow!
got it published, right? And it's all
Now you're
sales and
talking to the
marketing.
right person. We'll get it. We'll see that the book comes in all the bookstores.
And yeah, I mean, see, if I were to write a book on my life and my career, I mean, I would say writing a sinusoidal curve. You would understand why.
Wow, riding a sinusoidal curve.
Yeah, would have a crest and a trough, so ups and a down.
Riding a sine curve, kind of. And then I can really imagine the picture cover page of the book.
So anything that you have, I mean, professional career, your life, anything is a graph. You go up, you fall down. But don't let the falling down stop you from rising up again.
Absolutely. And the most insightful thing is that you learn the best of lessons when you are here, not when you are
Absolutely.
here.
Not
With
here.
this, Shantanu,
Correct.
thank you so much for your Sunday. We are going to have another series of conversation. Keep rocking and shining. We shall
Thank
be
you.
in touch. Thank you so
Thanks
much.
so much, Alan. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.